What we're looking at today is a way of restoring files that have been previously backed up to a CD, a DVD, or a DVD dual layer. And the main class we're looking at to do this is a DriveInfo class. In previous videos we looked at the DirectoryInfo class and the FileInfo class. And DriveInfo is similar, but it's on the level of the drives that are hooked up to your computer, such as C:// for usually your main hard drive, and it used to be A:/ for your floppy drive, but now the DVD drives are usually like D:// and so on, and quite often you have network drives that are start at higher levels like Z:/ and Y:/, and these different types of drives are actually reflected by a property within the DriveInfo class called DriveType, so it can find out what the type of the drive we're looking at using the DriveType. And the main method we use in DriveInfo is getDrives method, which is similar to the getDirectories method in DirectoryInfo, or the getFiles method of DirectoryInfo, which gets file information. But this gets all the drives that are hooked to your computer, the getDrives method. And the main property we're looking at really is the name property, which will tell you the name of the drive. And the fourth property, or a third property we look at in DriveInfo is ready. And in terms of a DVD drive, what is ready means is that there's actually a disk in the drive. If there's no disk, is ready will return as false, and if there is a disk in the drive, it'll return as true. And the other classes we're looking at in the course of doing a backup are the DirectoryInfo class and the FileInfo class, and we use the path class to do a combine method to combine the name of the drive with the name of the top directory on the drive. And the reason to do that is that I realized when I was going to talk about restoring files that it was basically impossible, because I have no idea how you backed up your files. So I'm just arbitrarily saying that there's every CD or DVD or DVD DL has one directory on it, and all the files that are backed up are in that one directory on the DVD. So that this is really pretty arbitrary, but it's a simple criteria to illustrate the technique. So the path.combine combines the DriveInfo with a single directory name, and then we take all the files in that directory and in theory copy them to a restore file on a hard drive or whatever, but in fact I'm just going to show them in a list box in the case of this simulated example. And we use DriveInfo and FileInfo as arrays in both cases, because there's a number of drives associated with the computer and a number of files associated with the directory. Well, this is the form we're using to simulate the restoring the files, and the list box for the drives potentially lists all the drives on the computer, but in fact we're just listing the one drive that actually has the backup DVD in it. And this text box is used for the combined drive name and top directory name. And this text box is the count of the number of files in the directory to be restored. And this list box actually shows the files to be restored. So I think this will be clearer if I actually run it. So if I run the program, you see we have the D: as the drive name, D://, and the top directory name is Christmas Music. And then the path.combine for these two is D://Christmas Music. And in order to see what files are in this directory, and seeing it in the list box is equivalent to copying it to a restore drive. All you need is one different command to do that. You press the list backup files and it shows all the files that are in that directory. The count is 119 files, and it shows each file that needs to be copied over to the restore drive. And most of the code to do this is in the for load event. You see the first statement we have in that is drive info array drives equals drive info dot get drives, which will get all the drives that are currently hooked up to your computer and put them in an array of drives called drives. And then we use a for each to go through each drive in turn. We copy the drives array element into the range variable drive one at a time. And in the case of doing the restore, we're doing an if that says if drive type is DriveType.CDRom, which is a type that means it's a CD, DVD, DVD, DL type drive, and drive is ready, which means that there's actually a disk in that drive. Then we add it to the list box, first the drive name, and then further down the directory name of the top directory. And the way we get the directory name of the top directory is we do a directory info on the drive.name that's the CD-ROM type and is ready. And then we do an array of directory info of the directories on this disk using the get directories method. And then we do a for each of each directory. And in fact there should be only one directory, because we're using the criteria we have only one directory and no subdirectories, and all the files are on that one directory, which is reflected in this statement here. We say if the dirs.length is equal to 1. In other words, there's only one member in this array of directories we got with get directories, so there's only one directory on the disk. Then we do a path combine of the drive name and the first name in the array, which is also the only name in the array, the dirs square bracket 0 square bracket dot name, and that path combine gets put into the text box here. And then we do a new directory info on this combined drive name directory name, and this new directory info is actually a global variable, di top dir. It's up here as a global variable because we're going to reference it later when we click the button that says list the files. And then we make the backup button, list backup files button visible, which is invisible if we don't meet all the conditions, and also make it enabled. And I have put the enabled in because I'm a little insecure as to whether you can press an invisible button if you luck out and get in the right area. I think you probably can't, but I'm not sure. So then when we press the button to list the backup files, that code is in the button event handler, and it basically gets an array of file info from the directory info that we got in the form load, which is the directory info for the drive name combined with the top directory. And we get all the files in that directory and put it in a file info array called FI. And then we get the length of the FI array, convert it to string, and put it in the count field. So that'll tell us how many file names we have in that array. And then we go through a for each file name in the array and add that file name, which is the curfile.name. Curfile is the range variable for each of the FI members. So it adds curvefile.name to that list box. So that's how we get the list of file names. If we were to go up to the form load code and comment out this whole if, use Control E C to comment that out, and then I think that's pretty much everything within the for each. Control E C to comment that out. So we just go through all the drives we got with the drive info get drives, and add one more statement that actually shows the drive types as well, by doing first a list box items add of the drive name, and then a list box items name of the drive type converted to string. So if we save this code and run it, you see all the drives that I have on my system: a C:/, which is fixed, a D:/, which is a CD-ROM. In fact, it's the CD-ROM we're actually looking at for the restore. Then a E:/, that is removable. And all the removable drives are basically these flash card type drives, you know, like for cameras and tape recorders and things. Cards like that usually have names like SD and XD and so on. And then we get into J:/, which is CD-ROM, and it's actually another DVD ROM drive that's on the network, my local area network. So it could say network instead of CD-ROM, but I guess it decides CD-ROM is the more important type. And then there's a couple network drives for a computer hard drive and a extended hard drive that's hooked up to that computer across the LAN. Well, I've used Control E U to restore the code to its original form. I uncommented out this top part and this part here, and I commented out the show the drive type in the list box. So we're back to our original code, and if I save this and run it, we see what we saw before: the D:// and the Christmas music drive name and top directory name, and them combined together with the path.combine. And if we press the list up backup files, we get the count and the names of the files again. And there's just one more thing I wanted to show about this, and that is, you notice in this if statement it says if drive.drivetype equals DriveType.CDRom and drive is ready. That means there actually is a disk in the drive directory. So if I pop the disk out, which I'm doing now, and close the drive, and then if we run this code, you see we just get a blank form because the is ready isn't true, so everything in the form load is just skipped in that big if statement. So the is ready does indeed determine there's a disk in the drive. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a lot, and I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe.